Thank you.
You to the land of Kalinga,
It's my pleasure.
land of Jagannath,
Yeah.
land of Buddha,
Yeah.
land of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He visited Odisha. Jainism, Hinduism, everything flourished here. In fact, this land created Buddha.
Yes.
It transformed Buddha
Yeah.
from Chondo Asok to Dharma Asok.
Yes.
And there is a monument lying over here, Indo-Japanese pagoda.
Yeah.
We call it White Pagoda,
Yeah.
Dhauligiri, which speaks high of Odisha, where peace was emerged. Peace was born here, and the entire message of peace was transformed from land of Kalinga to the entire world. Sir, we welcome you to the land of
So,
Kalinga.
thank you very much. And before you formally ask me some questions and we have discussion, let me state that it's always a pleasure and privilege to come to Odisha. I have been doing it almost for last 40-45 years. I have many friends in this region, and there are many people and institutions in this region which I have greatly admired, including Professor Dayanidhi Patnaik,
Sir.
in whose centenary celebrations I am privileged to
Sir.
participate.
Sir.
You referred to the Ashoka and Buddha
Sir.
connection. In one of my earlier visits, I went there,
Sir.
and it was a very emotional and very touching moment
Sir.
for me to go, because as a student, we always read
Sir.
that when Ashoka's transformation from a warrior to a peace-loving monarch took place. So it was a privilege.
Sir,
So
sir,
I'm
even
very-
historians say that Buddha was born in Odisha.
Okay.
Historians say,
Yeah.
and the name is Kapila Vastu.
Oh, okay.
That presently people know it is Kapila Vastu.
Yeah.
Now there is a place in Bhubaneswar known as Kapileshwar.
So it,
So the people, historians link Kapileshwar as Kapila Vastu,
Yeah.
and they tell Buddha was born in Odisha. That is why around Odisha
Yeah.
and Bihar and other places, Buddhism flourished, and that place Kapileshwar,
Yeah.
there is a temple also Kapileshwar. So it is in old town of Bhubaneswar.
Yeah, it's a very
Historians
proud
say
heritage.
Buddha was born here also.
it's a very proud
Yes.
legacy and a very proud
Yes,
heritage
yes.
of this state.
And we are very simple people, honest people, and God-fearing people.
Yeah.
And we work very hard, and we get the blessings of Lord Jagannath.
Yeah.
That is identify. Odiyas identify themselves
Yes.
with Lord Jagannath, and that is our parichoy, identification in the entire world. And we welcome you, sir. We are very much proud, and especially Madam has come with you. We are very much honored and grateful that you have come over here to witness this grand ceremony which we are planning
Yeah.
by tomorrow. Dr. Dayanidhi Patnaik Memorial Trust, Raven Psychology Chemistry Department. Raven Psychology means it's Odisha. This is the pride of the entire state, pride of India, Raven Psychology. So I have some questions, sir, to share with you, discuss with you.
Like
And दर्शक बंधु आपण माने जानि निश्चित खुशी हेबे जे आज हम गहणे अछंती प्रोफेसर गोवर्धन मेहता विज्ञान पाई टेक्नोलॉजी जगत पाई से जने अम्लान व्यक्तित्व जने विशाल व्यक्तित्व से फेलो ऑफ रॉयल सोसाइटी पीएचडी पुना डीएससी प्रेजेंटली इंटरनेशनल यूनियन ऑफ प्योर एंड अप्लाइड केमिस्ट्री रो से अध्यक्ष अछंती ही वाज प्रोफेसर ऑफ ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ साइंस बैंगलोर फ्रॉम 77 to 2005 he was director Indian Institute of Science Bangalore from 1998 to 2005. He is also honored by President of India with Padma Shri in 2000, President Indian National Academy of Sciences, Vice-Chancellor University of Hyderabad, CSIR Bhatnagar Fellow, internationally acclaimed researcher in organic chemistry, actively involved in global science policy and education issues, independent director in many pharmaceutical companies, fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry London, fellow of Royal Society London, fellow of National Academy of Sciences, fellow of Third World Academy of Sciences, 30 medals and awards and honors and accolades, member of the Scientific Advisory Committee to the Prime Minister of India. With this brief introduction, we welcome Professor Govardhan Mehta and Mrs. Mehta to the land of Kalinga, land of Utkal.
Thank you very
Sir,
much.
we salute you.
Yes, yes,
We respect you. You
Very,
are-
very kind and
that you have
gracious
stepped
of you.
in to our soil, and we identify ourselves with Lord Jagannath, and we are very simple people, working people, honest people, God-fearing people. These people made Konark, these people made Jagannath temple, and out of 4 places, holy places, Puri is considered one of the best holy places. Shankaracharya is Lord Shankaracharya is there. Sir, I have few questions planned for you.
Okay.
Sir, I have planned few questions for you.
Yeah.
What is your roadmap for future scientific development of India?
To narrate or elaborate on what could be the science map for the country.
Sir.
All I would do is to emphasize that science is fundamentally important
Sir.
for India to get its appropriate place in the Committee of Nations.
Sir.
Very soon, you know, by 2030 or even before, we are going to be the biggest country population-wise in the world. We will
Sir.
overtake China
Sir.
in a few years. And it's possible that we may peak around 1.4 to 1.5 billion people. A country of that size and dimension should not only be proud of the fact that it's the largest country population-wise,
Sir.
but such a country should also be the leading country in science, economics, innovations,
Sir.
and I would say art, literature, and should also be a role model for other countries to follow.
Sir. Sir.
Now, science by itself is not sufficient.
Sir.
Science properly interfaced with society, science which not only leads to new discoveries and inventions,
Sir.
but science which is deeply committed to the highest human values is very important.
Sir.
So any policy that we have should not only advance science, but also advance the values of science.
That means, sir, you advocate marriage of science, technology, engineering, or innovation or invention with human qualities. Human qualities like humanities, culture, art.
Absolutely.
So that becomes a totality. It emerges a total picture, totality. So that science is not a identified as a subject like physics, chemistry, mathematics. No, it is a total. It is a total framework, total concept. So that you total market the total human values, scientific values and cultural values, humanities values to the entire world. That is how the interface of science with the society.
You know, I also
Sir.
must tell you
Sir.
that this is also part of the India's old heritage.
Sir.
In ancient India, I'm not a scholar in
Sir,
this,
sir,
but
sir.
as I understand it, we admired and we committed ourselves to knowledge in a holistic manner. Knowledge is holistic. We have fragmented knowledge into many compartments. So yes, a very important component of knowledge is science.
Sir.
But science should not exist in isolation. Science should exist in the unity of knowledge.
बहुत बढ़िया सा कथा नहीं कहले सर. There is another thing now emerging. Knowledge society and knowledge economy. The concept is emerging. ज्ञानाश्रयी समाज व्यवस्था, ज्ञानाश्रयी अर्थनीति. The knowledge is dependent on economics and economy is also dependent on knowledge. So how you relate these things?
Yes,
Knowledge economy and knowledge society concept.
Absolutely.
Sir.
They should go hand in hand.
Sir.
If you have knowledge economy only, without human touch
Sir.
and without human involvement, then you will have many problems.
Sir.
We have
Sir.
seen many problems.
Sir.
If it is the other way around, that we have only human knowledge, but if it is not applied to the benefit of the society and economic development of the people, then it is incomplete.
That means a human face of society is essentially required than science itself.
Absolutely. And it requires for science as a discipline.
Sir.
And permit me to also state
Sir.
that scientists should also commit themselves personally to what I would like to call as human values.
Sir.
And then we will have a real good society.
Scientists not only work in the four walls of the laboratory, they are also man of the soil. We call it Matiro Maniso, man of the soil. So they should understand the language of common man.
Absolutely.
Science must link itself to the common man, its hopes, its aspirations, its desires, its urge and passion. So that science, technology, engineering, invention, innovation, whatever you call it, it relates to the value system of the society and relates to the love, tears, aspirations, desires of the common man walking on the road.
So I will say that there is a complementary, symbiotic relationship. Scientists should align themselves to the values of the society, but science in many cases can also define the values that are required for the society,
Sir.
for future. I'll tell you why this problem
Sir.
we are facing
Sir.
today. You know, the science as we know today
Sir.
is about 400 years old. You know, the modern science, Baconian
Sir.
science, was born only in 16th
Sir.
century. The growth of society and civilization is 6,000 years old. So there is a mismatch between the growth of science and the evolution of the society. So we see this difference in many things. So it is very important that we bridge this gap.
ବିଜ୍ଞାନର ବୟସ 500 ବର୍ଷ,
Yeah.
ସଭ୍ୟତାର ବୟସ 5000 ବର୍ଷ.
Yeah.
So there should be a symbiosis between these
Absolutely.
civilization and science.
Absolutely.
बहुत
And so
बढ़िया.
the best thing is
Sir.
that science should not have a lonely furrow and a lonely walk.
Sir.
Don't worry about the society.
Yes, yes.
And society should also not keep on evolving without worrying about the concurrent evolution of all knowledge streams in which science and technology is a major component.
ବହୁତ ବଢିଆ କଥାଟେ ସାର୍ କହିଲେ। ମୋର ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ସାର୍ ରହିବ।
Okay.
ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ରହିବ, where India stands today in science education and research?
Scientific research.
Sir.
There is no doubt that India has progressed enormously since independence in scientific research. As you know, even when we were in colonial era, Indians did good science, not at as spread out as it is today. But we had C.V. Raman, we had Homi Bhabha, we had many other names that I can give
Sir.
you. They flourished in colonial times. In fact, pre-independent India got us a Nobel Prize in Science.
Sir.
Post-independent
Yes.
India has not got a
Yes.
Nobel Prize
Sir.
to a person working in India. We are
Correct.
fortunate
Correct.
to have many
Correct.
people who are not
Sir.
who are of Indian origin
Sir.
and so on. So we had a tradition
Sir.
of science. Post-independence, I think we built on that tradition. You know, we created these bodies called CSIR and ICMR, ICAR. I think these are very visionary moves, which rightly emphasize what India will need if it has to become a leading country in the world. So I would say that we had a very good beginning. We have made very rapid progress. Today we are competitive in our scientific research. But are we leaders? Are we trendsetters?
Or we are
Utilizing?
Sir.
But I would say that we are competitive,
Sir.
but we are not among, say, the top 3 or top 4 countries. And I think this initiative has to come, just as we have now,
Sir.
you know, there is a talk in the air, and perhaps it will materialize very soon,
Sir.
that we will become the 3rd largest economy in the
Sir.
world in
Sir.
foreseeable
Yes,
future.
yes, yes.
We should also define a similar ambition, that we will become the top 2 or 3 scientifically productive countries in the world, that our STI will be second to none in the world. Now, if that is the kind of ambition we want to set, I am afraid it will take a lot of effort, lot of investment, lot of innovation to reach that position. We are not anywhere near that position.
Science before 50s, science after 50s. As you told, pre-independence,
Yeah.
post-independence era.
Yeah.
We created Satish Dhawan, we created Bhabha, we created Meghnad Shah, Satyana Bose, so many, Jagdish Chandra
Sure,
Bose,
sure.
great figures.
Yeah.
But after independence, huge investment, so many laboratories, entire scientific chain was flourished. But we have not created the Nobel Prize.
Yeah. This is
How we evaluate such a
Well,
situation?
see, first of all, I will tell you that Nobel Prize need not necessarily be the only criterion
Sir, I
of
agree with you.
judging
I agree with you.
where we
Sir,
stand
I agree with you.
scientifically. Countries like Japan, who are technological
Sir.
giants, only in recent years they are getting Nobel Prize
Prize,
more
sir.
frequently, because Nobel Prizes went for many years to either United States or to the European countries. I'm not casting any
No,
aspersion on this.
Okay, sir.
However, it will not be correct to assume that Nobel Prize is the only index
Criteria. It is not the only criteria.
of where you
Yes,
stand
it is not the only criteria.
in science.
Sir.
So I would say that we have progressed a lot. but we have
And
mild.
remarkably progress.
We have-
Definitely remarkably
yes,
progress.
I would not say remarkably, very impressive progress we have had,
Okay,
but remarkable.
Okay,
I am
okay,
to
impressive
appreciate.
progress.
But we
Impressive,
have
yes.
miles to go
Before we
because
sleep.
because we are a force to reckon with.
बहुत बढ़िया कथा सर कहते academia, industry and research
Yeah.
should work hand in hand.
Yeah.
But this is not the case today.
Yeah.
What do you foresee?
Well, this is a problematic area.
Sir.
This has been recognized for many years. We have been talking about it, but we have not achieved a breakthrough. People of my age have been involved in dozens of such discussions between industry and academia. There have been some progress, but not major progress. In fact, I can take the liberty to say that whenever we have such discussions,
Sure.
it very soon degenerates into blame game.
Mhm.
Industry
Yes,
says
sir,
academia
correct,
are interested
sir.
in their blue sky research, they don't relate to our problems, their timelines are different. And if you talk to academia, they will say they want us to be their solution providers. They should also support basic
Support
research
research.
and so on. So there is this interest. But
Things are changing. But things are changing.
Yeah,
Yes.
beginning to change.
Yes,
I would
beginning to
say.
change, sir.
They are
Beginning to
beginning to
change.
change, and it is absolutely necessary if we have to become a science and technology driven superpower, which should be the ambition of every Indian and our country as well collectively. We will have to strengthen these links very much. The government will have to provide more incentives for
investment,
this.
yes. Investment. also.
Investment in incentives.
Incentives.
Okay. And I mean, looking at the practical aspects, such contribution by scientists should also be recognized.
Recognized, sir.
Today, our recognition systems are heavily skewed in favor of research publications, which are important. But it is also important that have you solved the problems of the society? Have you been involved in solving the problems of society? I mean, Green Revolution, everybody knows. Okay, Green Revolution was not published in scientific papers. It happened on the ground, and everybody has benefited. The country has benefited. Or the White Revolution did not result in publications and such recognition system.
Amul is the success story.
Although I know that
Yes.
individuals were recognized, Dr. Kurian, Dr. Swaminathan, they were very well-known people, highly acclaimed, and so on. But I think those people who work in these areas which are socially relevant,
Sir.
which lead to economic development, should now get more recognition than in the past.
Thank you, sir. Institute, scientific temper is the core of all scientific developments.
Yeah.
But we lack such attitude and temperament. What is your,
Well,
what is your prescription?
I will tell you.
Sir.
First of all, we were very fortunate
Sir.
that our first Prime Minister emphasized the scientific temper, as he called it, and it is enshrined in our constitution.
Sir, yes.
So this was actually a foundational value and principle of our constitution and of post-independent India. We have made some strides, but one of our problems has been that India, being an old civilization, very tradition-bound civilization, we believe that there is no match between tradition and scientific temper. Yes, they are divergent in some ways, but there is also a common ground. And therefore, I believe that somewhere in recent years, the scientific temper and its cultivation in the general population has receded in the background. It should be brought up front. Scientific temper should become a very fundamental learning and a fundamental concept of every citizen, I would say not only of India, of the world.
Yes.
Because even in other countries
Yes.
now, a lot of you read and you hear about lack of scientific temper.
Yes.
That should not happen. But partly it is because of our old civilization, which has many things to be proud of, but it also is limiting because beliefs sometimes dominate, not reason.
Believe over the years.
Yeah,
Over the years.
beliefs,
Over the years.
yeah.
Over the years.
See,
Yes.
again, the scientific temper says that every belief must be subjected to the scrutiny of reasoning. So, you know, when you have only beliefs not tempered by reason, then you have difficulties.
Even scientists say that you cannot explain everything through test tube and beaker.
Yeah, that's true.
Belief is a medicine.
Yeah.
Dhyana, yoga, tapasya,
Yeah.
though you cannot define scientifically,
Yeah.
but it helps in building up a personality, value system in a society over the years.
Yeah.
Over the years.
I-
and we cannot pinpoint it scientifically.
That's why they should coexist. Coexist. But they should talk to each other. That means when you have faith, you have your tradition. Always reason it.
Yes.
Don't be blind.
Blind.
See, the method of science says, do not accept anything.
Do Vishwas,
The
not
blind-
Andhavishwas.
Exactly.
Yes, not Andhavishwas.
Exactly.
You Vishwas कीजिए लेकिन Andhavishwas मत कीजिए. Yes, yes. Sir, what is Seth and science of the future?
Very interesting question.
Sir.
Very thoughtfully you have asked. You know, basically you're asking, where is science heading?
Yes.
If you know something, what is going to happen? Actually, it is not science. You know, science is something which is discovering in the dark
Sir.
for light. If you already know that at the end of the tunnel there is light and all this, then the science gets undermined. I do believe that science will continue to be the basic foundation of the evolution of society for better living, better health, better quality of air. You know, today sustainability is our big challenge. That's one of the things I'm going to talk about tomorrow.
Sir.
Sustainability problems will not be solved without application of science. Of course, science has to combine with policy, with public participation, good society connect, it is necessary. We are fortunate here. I think this city we have clean environment.
Smart city number one
Yes,
of the country.
Exactly. But you read about our capital.
Yes.
What is happening there? People
Yes.
can't even breathe. And therefore, science will be required to solve the problems. But science also must be careful not to create too many problems. You know, we have lots of, see, I'll give you an
In the
example.
process of solving problems, science need not create more problems.
Yes, and science should now think much more deeply before introducing new products in the market, which should not only be driven by economy. Good case of plastic.
Sir.
When plastic came, it was a great revolution.
Yes, yes.
But today, plastic has become nuisance to the extent that today our oceans have more plastic than fish.
Yes.
You know,
Sir.
and so who created that?
Yes.
And of
We
course,
created, scientists created.
created
Yes,
that,
yes, yes.
but they did not think what will happen to that plastic.
Even this smartphone, everybody is holding a smartphone.
Absolutely.
It has all many maladies now. Smartphone.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Diseases
It
and
is a product of science. Everybody in the entire world holding that product.
Yeah.
But it has its also negative.
there are
aspects.
many other things.
Other
And
things.
so I think
Sir.
science should harmonize its activities with society. And society must ask questions to science. And science should search for those answers. Because if this harmony is not there, you have, you know, in the 50s and 60s, in the Cold War, science was blamed for nuclear energy.
Yes.
You know,
Yes,
because we were
yes,
having
yes.
nuclear
Yes,
explosion.
yes,
But today, as you know, that nuclear energy, I'm not
No, it is,
bidding for
it,
that,
it is the
but
best
fact
alternative
that
now.
It's the
best
cleanest,
alternative.
it's the
Clean
cleanest
energy and best
energy,
alternative.
despite all the
Yes,
risks,
yes,
etc.
yes, yes.
So we have to have that balance.
Sir, from developing India, when the dream of Dr. Kalam will be realized,
Yeah.
definitely I think not before 2020. What do you say?
2020 developed India concept or developed India dream will be realized, I think is a bit far-fetched.
Sir.
We should have done that.
Yes.
Maybe by 2020 we
Yes,
should have
yes,
done in
yes,
2000.
yes.
Because in 2000 we were already 53 years since independence. But one thing we must now debate is what should be our development model. When you say developed, what do one mean by developed? What was the development model which was pursued by many advanced, so-called advanced and rich countries of the world? is not sustainable. It is becoming increasingly clear. Overconsumption is a serious challenge. Earth does not have these resources to support. You know, that famous Gandhian saying, there is enough in this world for everybody's need, but not everybody's greed. Okay? So we have this imbalance on our planet, and therefore I believe India should become so-called developed countries, but within a new paradigm of development, not in the old paradigm of development. Because how do you measure who is development? Okay. And therefore today there is talk of sustainable development. United Nations has woken up late, but you know 2030 they have set sustainable development goals, which applies to our country. Our country is a signatory to sustainable development goals 2030. So the earliest we can hope to get there is 2030.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, you know, the
Let us hope for
deadline.
another 10 years.
Yeah,
Another
so the
10 years,
deadline of
yes.
22 has been extended. We should try our best to get it by 2030.
2030.
And if you see the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, it doesn't want us to be compared with any other country. Basic, clean drinking water, education, quality education for everybody, healthcare. These are the things which are the basic. It doesn't talk about that everybody should have a car and a villa and all the modern gadgets and so on. That's not part of sustainable development goals. I think these are very cleverly, there's 17 sustainable development goals. We will be regarded as a
I think by
development.
2030 we will achieve it. I think so. I
well,
think so.
India is committed
to that, and we are marching in that direction also. We are
See,
marching.
what has happened is that the human development,
Sir.
which is fundamental, is only in earlier development paradigms was only part of development. Otherwise, everything was also equated in terms of per capita income and many such parameters. You know, earlier our human development index was defined in terms of per capita consumption also of electricity, income, calories that are available. These are important, but you should look at more holistically, not in these numbers. You know, people of different genetic makeup, living under different conditions, cold climate, hot climate, here, there, what altitude, have different levels of calorie requirement. We can't have one size fit all approach to development. So to sum it up without confusing more, is that we should redefine our development paradigms.
बहुत बढ़िया sir. Throw some light on science, technology and innovation policy of Government of India.
Well, frankly speaking, is there a clear-cut policy? I am not aware of that. Okay, but this, I believe, over the years, subsequent governments have defined certain objectives, and I am sure that this present government has also defined these objectives. Eventually, science, technology, innovation policy should have two fundamentally important criteria. It should lead to the betterment of our people. It should lead to advancement of knowledge. And when I talk about that it should lead to betterment of our people, everything which is required for good quality of life is included in this. And I think it should be directed towards that. And the other, of course, is the fact is that in last 300 years, those were the countries who were more powerful, who were most prosperous, and who achieved great milestones in development, but the countries who had good science and technology. There is an estimate that 60% or 70% of world's GDP is based on science and technology. So for us, we should keep on refining the policies and have a clear roadmap how STI can be fully harnessed for the betterment of our country and people.
Sir, how do you rate Odisha under the regime of Mr. Navin Patnaik, considered as the best Chief Minister of India?
ना क्वेश्चन
I have been a frequent visitor to Odisha, at least once in a year or two and so on. There is no question that Odisha has advanced a lot. It has developed a lot. You mentioned it's among the smart city development of Bhubaneswar, so on. Few years ago when we went to Konark, you know, the entire highway from Bhubaneswar to Konark was littered with educational institutions. Odisha has also got some of the best educational brands in the country here. You have an IIT here, you have NICER here, and now ICER has come in Berhampur. So really, and IIM have come. Central University came in Koraput. It had some initial problems, but it is there. So the point is that yes, the opportunities are very good, and I would like to think that I see now very many people of Odia origin, trained, educated here, occupying important academic positions all over the country. I myself have a colleague who is an outstanding person who is from Odisha. So yes, Odisha has progressed very well. Now, but we should not also forget that Odisha had a great tradition. You know, when I was young, Ravenshaw College was considered among the best colleges of the country. I mean, it was very famous. And even as a researcher, I used to see that research was being done from Ravenshaw College. There were people who were, publishing very good papers and so on and so forth.
And Dr. Dayanidhi is the product of
Yes, he was.
Yes,
So Odisha had a great tradition, continues to have a good tradition, and I think you are very smart people here, and therefore I would say that more support should be given to science and technology. As you said, we are very reputed and highly admired Chief Minister. So if I have a chance to convey something to him, I will say invest more in science and technology. Odisha will more rapidly advance.
Beautiful message to our honorable Chief Minister.
You are an international science planner. How do you link science, policy and society?
But I have been, I have been very fortunate to head an organization, international organization called International Council for Science, whose one of the major objectives is to establish connect between science and society and use science for the benefit of the society. Actually, this is in acronym is ICSU, ICSU, and its mission is to use science for the benefit of society. So yes, I have been involved internationally in creating this science-society interface. I think our country also is moving towards that, because many of the missions that the present government has launched have a very strong connect and contribution from science, whether it is Ayushman Bharat or whether it is Make in India. The foundation of that has to be in science, technology and innovation. So yes, I do believe that it is possible to do it, but I would like to see that there is more emphasis on this science and society connect. And I would also say that this scientific temper, which is enshrined in our constitution, and which was one of the pillars of our early growth and development, should be brought center stage again.
Sir, Mr. Biju Patnaik, the maker of modern Odisha, instituted an organization known as Kalinga Foundation Trust in the year 1950-51. He gave some money to UNESCO Paris. He had been to Paris, handed some money to the Director General, and from 52 onwards, world's highest award in science population is given by UNESCO Paris. It was known as the Kalinga Prize. From 2009 onwards, it is known as UNESCO Kalinga Prize, which is the highest award in the world now for science popularism. It's a great contribution for science and technology population and the great contribution of Biju Patnaik. I am proud that I am a trustee of that organization since the last 20 years or so. How do you see future of science population?
Well, first of all, let me say that almost from my student days, I knew about Kalinga Prize. And actually, Kalinga Prize created enormous visibility for Indian science. It was very unique. Biju Patnaik was well ahead of his time to have instituted.
yes.
When I grew up and when I became president of ICSU, which I told you, which is a Paris-based entity, I attended several functions where Kalinga Prize was given. Because UNESCO was giving this, because ICSU is closely connected with UNESCO. And so I attended prize ceremony when the Kalinga Prize was given. I felt so proud as an Indian when it was read out that it was established by Vice-Chancellor, former Chief Minister of Odisha and one of the stalwarts of post-independent India. We need actually many more such initiatives. So I personally believe that I'm very happy that you are associated with that, and the Kalinga Prize had its origin both in Odisha and a tall leader of not only Odisha but of India. I think we should create many more things. I think it has given great visibility.
Absolutely.
I attended one meeting in Budapest where Kalinga Prize was given. There were a dozen Nobel laureates sitting here, and Kalinga Prize was given to one of our scientists.
In fact, Kalinga Prize.
I know that.
Somebody before Kalinga Prize got Nobel Prize, somebody got Nobel Prize after Kalinga Prize. 5 women in the world got Kalinga Prize. So far 24 countries have been awarded with this prize, and from India we have so far only 5 great personalities.
I know them all.
5 great personalities. And still we have to move ahead, and that trust is living now, and we are working for the trust. And we have close collaboration with the DST government of India, because they are now partner. They are giving a Kalinga chair. In addition to Kalinga Prize, the awardee gets a Kalinga chair, $5,000 US dollar, and Kalinga Prize now it is $40,000 US dollar. 40,000 plus 5,000 Kalinga chair, but given a DST government of India. DST government of Odisha is a partner with us. So all the money we send to UNESCO.
It's a wonderful thing to do, perpetuate and serve the scientific community.
So the Science Day, the 10th November is the World Science Day. This year's theme, Science, Human Right. So this was conceived by UNESCO in the year 2001. 2001. From 2002, this is being celebrated, and every year there is a theme. This year's theme is Science, Human Right. What do you want to say?
Because this basically brings back the discussion that we had. If you recognize science as a basic human right, then this becomes a vehicle to permeate the idea of scientific temper, to question, to reason. These are the basic things of science, and if it is a human right, then you inculcate science to every human being on our planet. So I am very chosen, and recently there was a conference on Science International. One of the resolutions which passed was that science should also cultivate the values of kindness.
Beautiful.
It's this.
That humanity.
So again, it is bringing us to back confluence of all knowledge streams for human advancement. Science is one pillar, but you cannot construct a roof on one pillar. You need all these other knowledge pillars as well. So I'm very delighted about this year's theme of science as a human right. I think
मानविक अधिकार, विज्ञान एक मानविक अधिकार. It is a beautiful theme, sir, chosen this year. Vigyan, मानविक अधिकार for every human being in the entire world. They have a right for science.
Absolutely.
They have a right for science. This is message goes to throughout the world. This is human right. Everybody has a right. All citizens of the entire world, they have a right on science. विज्ञान प्रति सबका अधिकार है.
Absolutely. I would like, this is indirectly included, I would like this to be also included in our constitution. But scientific temper is included.
Yes, sir.
You cannot have that scientific temper is intrinsically related as a human right for science. So
but this human rights should also be included in the constitution.
My personal belief, yes.
Sir, I also agree with you. Science a human right, this also should be included in the Constitution of India also, in addition to the scientific temper. My last question. How do you visualize science and technology in Odisha?
I think there is
It's
a great
future. It's future.
I-
And present.
Yes, I personally believe there is great potential.
Sir.
But eventually, potential is only important if it can be realized. Things are happening, but I think given the talent which is there in Odisha, the natural resources that we have in Odisha, the heritage of great learning which is also there in Odisha, and you said the people, the culture of Odisha is quite conducive to pursuit of science, and therefore I think the ground is fertile for science attaining new heights in the state of Odisha. But you have to take concrete steps to channelize. We should also must realize government cannot do that, but government can be a catalyst. And yes, I like we wouldn't have achieved what we have achieved if the government was not providing the catalyst and being supportive of science. But we cannot keep on doing these things at the rate at which we were doing in the past. Accelerated, fast tracking. We need fast tracking. And I'm sure with the enlightened government we have in Odisha, every effort will be made to fast track it.
Madam, my last question will be to you. That question, as I told you, please,
No.
please, last question, please.
I don't know what to
Please,
say.
please. For making of a man, there is always a lady. There are so many examples. Even Mahatma Gandhi was created through a lady, his wife, also his mother. There are many examples in India and outside India. For making of a man, gote manishar sarjanare, gote narira hato thae. We consider, madam, that you are in the backbone of creation of Professor Mehta. How you made Professor Mehta to say magnifying personality in the entire globe, madam?
I don't think I have done anything to make him do what he has done. It's 100% his own passion, his own dedication to the subject that he has pursued all his life. I've seen him do from the day we got married till today. I've seen him day and night only in his lab. So I don't think I have much contribution. I have been by his side and I've seen him grow, and I'm happy that he has reached where he has. But I don't want to take any credit away from him.
It's not the question of credit. This is a convention. We generally see, even for Ramayana, you see, for making of Ramayana, there was a lady. For making of Mahabharata, there was a lady. For making of India also, there was a lady. जिसका नाम भारतवर्ष हुआ है ना, जिसका नाम भारतवर्ष, उसके पीछे भी एक lady है, शकुंतला. If there is no Shakuntala, there is no Bharatvarsha. So this is what we see. So for what we feel, the scientific community of the country feel, for making of Professor Mehta as is today, such a magnifying, glorifying and magnetic personality, definitely your hands are there. We salute you, we pranam you, and
Thank you
we are
very
grateful
much
to you
for giving us
that you are by his side and you have made him what he is today.
Okay, I take that credit. Thank you very much.
समस्त प्राइमरी ले जा लास्ट. So we hope, sir, tomorrow our meeting will be better in the very much.
Thank you
for
very much.
sharing your
It's our
valuable time.
privilege. It's very privileged. Thank you for finding time to talk to us.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you
very
very much.
Namaste.